2020 tweet. I'm so exhausted at these white folks in these PD, professional development sessions. This lady actually had the caudacity to say black.
Caudacity for Caucasian. I checked out this one video of this young lady by the name of Shalonda Young, who was up against Lisa McClain about tax percentages being paid in relation to the top 10% and the bottom 90%. And the top 1% was set aside as well. It was a complete mic drop. If you haven't seen that video, please make sure you go see it. I'm not talking about the original. I'm talking about my reaction because we had some fun while checking it out. But, man, she is about to go up against the same Shalonda Young is in the building for somebody else right now, Chip Roy. Chip Roy, and I've never seen Chip Roy go at anyone before, but I do know this. Shalonda Young had an opportunity when she was having a conversation with Lisa McClain to just give her a flat out number, right? Something that will solve all of our issues. Because when they made the comment that they should pay their fair share, Lisa McClain presented her with okay, then give us a number. What's the number? And Shalonda Young could not answer her at all. So let's see if she does better with Chip Roy. So, yeah, let's get into it.
Thank the gentleman for yielding back, and now recognize the gentleman from Texas, Mr. Roy. Mr. Roy, you are recognized.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Director Young, for joining us here today. I would note we've already acknowledged that 19.6% overall percent of GDP revenue to the Treasury, which would put it at historic highs. So I assume the Director would agree that that's a relatively high historic percentage of revenue to the Treasury.
Yeah, we're trying, we would be in line with where we were in the mid-90s.
But nevertheless, those are very high levels as a relative basis of percentage of GDP. But we're also acknowledging that we're increasing spending next year to $6.8 trillion, $500 billion more than FY23. $82 trillion over 10 years. $82 trillion of spending over 10 years.
What? 82 trillion? What in the hell? Yo! 82 trillion, that's a lot of money.
But we're trying to praise a $3 trillion so-called reduction in the deficit, despite the fact we're spending $82 trillion. Here's where I want to kind of go. What are the priorities of this administration when I look at what I see in the budget? Here's some of the spending items that are brought to my attention. $3.9 billion for the Department of Homeland Security Climate Resilience Program. $3.9 billion.
What is climate resilience program? Okay.
Because the administration cares about a climate crisis more than the crisis at our border. $109 million going to Mexico. Mexico for law enforcement and military support. This despite the fact that our border is overrun and Mexico has lost complete control along our southern border. $3.5 billion for the FBI's new headquarters.
Where did the government get all this daggone money? For the governor's new headquarters? Billions? With the B?
$3.5 billion for the FBI to have a brand new headquarters in Maryland. $1.8 billion more for the Internal Revenue Service on top of the $80 billion that was given to the IRS last year.
Who let them spend all this damn money? Where are they getting this money from? Yo, hold up. Time out. Hold on. Time out. Okay. We're going to go back to this conversation in a minute. Are there any adults in the damn room? Okay. Who's managing our pockets right now? Why are we just spending it like we can just create it and it's nothing? 85 billion, 3.5 billion. Yeah, FBI, y'all get a new building over there in Maryland. We're going to put it in Maryland. Yeah, don't worry about it. We got it. 3.5 billion. That ain't nothing. We the United States, baby. We the U.S. They talking about we ain't got no money. What? They mean we ain't got no money. They ain't got no money. Broke ass people always looking at us talking about we ain't got no money. We got some money. We just now bought the FBI a new building in Maryland for $3.5 billion like it ain't nothing. We was going to spend that on some strippers anyway. What the hell are we doing, guys? Is there an adult in the room? Why are we allowing this to happen? I thought we were in debt. That's what I last heard. Now, this is coming from a gentleman who is just, and I call myself a gentleman, you know, I probably shouldn't because I am not, except for when I'm around my babies. Hopefully she hear me, make me some pancakes. But who is saying that we can spend this money, man? This is nuts. I'm done. Now, let me jump off my soapbox.
$1.6 billion for the United Nations Green Climate Fund, which includes $100 million to go to China for greening its economy. $108 million for the World Health Organization, which conspired and colluded with the CCP to cover up and parroted the CCP propaganda. I've been combing over the budget to find any reductions in outlays or cuts in this administration's budget. There are precious few. Where I could find a couple of actual reductions was, for example, in reductions to Border Patrol, reductions to ICE, actual cuts to the spending for those particular programs, but that is supposed.
Whoa! You mean to tell me that y'all took money away from Border Patrol to buy the FBI a new building? I'm sorry, but what the hell? What the hell? So not only are we spending money on something that ain't gonna make us any money, it's just not smart. The math ain't mathing. What the hell am I missing? How are we gonna make that money back with the $3.5 billion that we spent on the FBI to move into a new headquarters? So we take money away from Border Patrol so that more people can move onto our land, for us to finance more people, for us to insure more people, for us to police more people, for us to feed more people, for us to house more people. With what money? Oh, don't worry about it. We got him. Come on, we big pockets over here. It's almost like they are doing everything possible to make the U.S. lose all its money, all its power, its position in the national space, international space, the world stage. They can care less about any of that. I'm not hearing anything that adds up to something better. Shouldn't we be investing our money? At least investing our money into people. If you're going to say that you're going to, this is the lie right here. This is why this video should be shared, because a lot of people believe that the Democrats are all about the people. Are they though? Because then they will act like they can't do things for them because the U.S. not giving them any money. We can't give you any jobs because the government not letting us create any jobs. They ain't got no jobs in here. So when you go out there and shoot somebody and go to jail, you can blame it on not having a job in your community. Let me tell you what, if the U.S. actually had $3.5 billion to just give away for a new FBI building, they can definitely create some jobs with that. But they shouldn't take away from Border Patrol in order to do it. It's so many different, who in the hell is managing our money, man? This is some selfish sugar honey iced tea. I don't hear about any of this that's going to add toward what we're trying to do in this country. I don't get it, man. But I'm new to this.
Supposedly offset by $4.7 billion for a new Southwest Border Contingency Fund to respond to migrant surges. But here's the thing. Those are restricted, according to the language that I see. Eligible uses for the funds include soft-sided facilities, transportation detention beds, alternative detention, and shelter and services programs to organizations caring for non-citizen adults. In other words, that is additional money for more processing with cuts and reductions to the actual enforcement of the law. Those are the priorities of this administration. So one thing that I would like to have at the end of this is I would like for the OMB to produce for us a list of specific reductions in outlays throughout the president's budget. Because I'm combing over them and I'm finding precious little reduction in outlays, but the only outlay I could find that was serious reductions were to DHS's Border Patrol and ICE. I would also note that there was $114.7 million for diversity and inclusion activities at the Department of Defense.
What? Come on, we need to have some cookouts and some barbecues, and we need to go swimming. We need to go to Disney World for inclusion and diversity. We need to, hire some people to come up here and speak, talk about how important it is to be inclusive and diverse. We need to be able to have that. We need to have a budget for that. $135 million worth of money for that. Because this is what's important. Y'all trying to make me upset, and it's not going to happen.
$7 million for diversity and inclusion activities at the Department of Defense. $114 million for diversity and inclusion activities. The Air Force Academy curriculum that recommended cadets avoided gendered language like mom and dad. A United States Marine Corps report that was studying whether we should use sir and ma'am for our drill instructors. A memo from the Department of Defense Secretary Austin recognizing transgender and gender nonconforming persons. The Naval Academy admiral that told midshipmen to read How to Be an Anti-Racist by Ibram Kendi. $91,000 for diversity and inclusion seminars for the Air Force band.
I told you, I knew it. I knew it. It was like, okay, where can we put all this money? We need to hire a band. Let's make sure the band is all gay. All right. We want an all gay band that will look really good to the LGBTQ plus community. And we want to make sure we have at least 5 speakers who are all black. Sprinkle of brown in there, maybe an Asian. All right. And this is the type of stuff we're dealing with right now. Oh my God, man! Like if you don't see, you can kind of feel the country crumbling. You start to. That's why I don't like to learn this stuff, man, because you start to see everything breaking down, and there's some scary sugar honey iced tea right here.
$180,000 salary for a senior diversity official at the Air Force, which is more than a member of Congress gets paid. And how about Kalissa Wing, who serves at the Department of Defense Education Activities Diversity Chief? 2020 tweet, I'm so exhausted at these white folks in these PD professional development sessions. This lady actually had the caudacity to say black.
Caudacity for Caucasian. I'm sorry, that's funny.
Black people can be racist too. I had to stop the session
Yes, black people racist as hell.
and give Karen the business. We are not the majority. We don't have the power. Are these the priorities of the current administration, to fund the kinds of offices that hire individuals?
Yep. That's exactly what they want to do. This is where we're going to put our money. This is where we want our money. Okay? We do what we want to do with our money. We don't care about the border. The border, so many people can come over here. I don't care where they go. Just bring everybody in. You know what this is like? And, it's just like, you ever had an aunt or an uncle where if all of the family came over there and y'all had a party, get together and everything, and next thing you know, at the end, they was like, look, just I don't care where you lay. Just lay anywhere. It's whatever. It's my house or your house. Just come on, lay. Come on, lay down wherever you lay. We'll just drop down, lay. I have that kind of heart, but I don't have that type of home. Okay? Because there has to be some order in my home. You're not just going to lay down and sleep wherever you lay. But you do have aunts and uncles who you love that do that. I mean, it makes you feel good and warm and toasty. You know what I mean? To know somebody that if I get tired, I can just lay down on the floor, just go sleep, whatever. Nah, when you start to incorporate a bit of order, because you understand you got to make sure everything stays clean. You got to make sure that everyone's fed. You got to make sure there's enough water and electricity for everyone. You got to make sure everybody's good, right? But when you remove the border patrol, and you start to bring more and more times infinity people across the border who are not giving in to, putting into the pot, but they're getting money out for certain things that they're getting done for them. You got to figure, man, where's this money going? What are our priorities here? Where's the adult in the room? That's all I want to know, man. It's just not making sense to me yet. It really isn't.
That use this kind of divisive racist language? Is that the priorities of this president's budget? And you have criticized our plan, some conservatives in Congress plan to shrink Washington and grow America. The House Freedom Caucus plan wouldn't reduce the deficit by 1 penny. Which is it? All I've heard today from my Democratic colleagues is all the horrifying cuts that are going to occur. Which is it? Because you're going to say that we're not going to reduce the deficit when you say that we're going to stop a student loan bailout of $400 billion?
Damn. Speak, bruh. Chip Roy. Can you please speak? Ain't nobody got to reduce the deficit. Only thing y'all got to do is stop taking away from other dumb things and putting money in places that ain't going to do sugar honey iced tea. Y'all not putting money anywhere that's going to make some money for this country. Where are you investing that money? How is it going to work positively for us? I don't get it. You saying we not do our job. What y'all doing? I just now told y'all about $3.5 billion that y'all put to the side for the FBI headquarters. Y'all decided to do that with that money. You want to reduce the deficit? Don't do dumb sugar honey iced tea like that.
You're telling me that wouldn't reduce the FY 2023 deficit to eliminate a $400 billion bailout of student loans? That it wouldn't reduce the deficit if we were to reclaim $91 billion of unspent money, or $80 billion from the IRS expansion, or $78 billion from the so-called Inflation Reduction Act's unspent climate funds?
That's a lot of money he's naming. He's naming a lot of money, and you talking about reduce the deficit. There you go. There you go, folks. There you go.
Or $270 billion from the Inflation Reduction Act's so-called energy subsidies, or getting Americans back to work under SNAP or Medicaid. All of this that we proposed in the House Freedom Caucus budget would save $4.82 trillion over 10 years.
The gentleman's time has expired.
I yield back.
And Mr. Chair, since there was obviously a lot there for the last 3 or 4 minutes, I would ask the indulgence if the OMB director could actually respond to some of that if she wishes. I would ask that I think that would be appropriate.
Yes, we'll give just a few seconds to do what you can on that, Director Young.
Just a few seconds. There are spending cuts you have outlined that we've talked a lot about here today. However, if you continue the tax cuts, which has also been a stated policy goal, of those making over $400,000 and skewed to the wealthy, you use all of those savings for extending those tax cuts. That is where the analysis came from.
And where in the Freedom Caucus proposal that was put out publicly was there any mention of the tax cuts? Putting aside the debate over tax cuts, which is a meritorious debate, but there was no mention of that. So how can then the gentlelady say, oh, this is...
time has expired on this.
Man, she didn't want to say anything else.
Time was extended, the question was laid out, and the allegation was made that it was about taxes, which is not
Certainly, sir, appreciate the vigor of the conversation with that. Next, we...
Wow. Let me tell you something. And then Shalonda Young, she still didn't say anything to back up any or even combat anything that he was saying. She had nothing to say. Well, I was talking about the 400K that you was talking about, the tax cuts that you want to take away. I was specifically talking about the tax cuts. Everything you just now said about the money we're spending is true, but I'm not going to acknowledge it. Why would I acknowledge it? It makes me look dumb. It makes my department look dumb. It makes this administration look dumb. I'm not going to admit to anything like that. People are so concerned with how they'll look, how they'll sound, whether or not they'll come off on the losing end. They're more concerned about that than they are with helping people. Give a damn about helping people. They just can't wait until it's their time to get into power. And then when it's their time to get into power, they can give a damn about whatever they leave behind. Let the next administration fix it. We have a pocket full of money. We have deficits now. Can we borrow against it? Or we can still spend? Get out of here. So we're in debt like this, we're in trillions of dollars of debt, and we can still spend money? I'm gonna do it. So now I have to put that on the entirety of the government. Why in the hell will we allow that? Why will we allow that? I think that's dumb as hell. Like, that's one of the laws that we put into place that's coming back to bite us in the ass. All right? And you should take accountability for that too. I'm talking about both sides, the right and the left, okay? Both of y'all should take accountability for that, because y'all allowed this mess to happen. If we're in debt like we are right now, how are we able to pay the money that we're able to pay? We're giving away borrowed money. You all are allowing that to happen. Y'all are, and it's ruining everything. So now we're in rooms trying to act like adults now and trying to fix it. And now it seems like only one side wants to play. The other side has had too much fun. I've enjoyed this too much, and I don't think I should have to be responsible anymore. Like, because I've gone through too much. My people have gone through too much. Look at them. They can barely make it. They shouldn't have to do anything. They shouldn't have to be responsible. Of course, you will want to be responsible because you're a privileged white man. Probably how it's looked at. Because you're a privileged white man. You saying that you can work hard. You saying that you can pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Because we already know there ain't no poor white people. Ain't no white people in the bottom 90%. It's only black people. These people are damn idiots, bruh.